It's WG, bring your SMB, and welcome to Stella's full kit reveal. We have the trailer, we have the kit, and I have a very, very special way of presenting it to you, courtesy to all of you. You'll see it later in the video, but for now, let's check out the trailer. Empusa, I know that name. Iona! But yeah, the music is always so awesome. Alright, 4 cost, Half Moon. Assassin. Sweet old animation. Alright, now that we have this out of the way, let's get to the special way of presenting her kit. So, here we are. Thanks to you, thanks to my own effort, thanks to the devs, we've made it onto the official content creator program as well as the test server. So without having to go for any crazy machine translations or whatever, we can actually check her out right here. So let's check it out. Stella. What you're gonna notice in the very beginning is that for some reason she has the lowest BP in the entire game out of any SSR, even lower than Mass. Mass coming in at 20,022, whereas she herself comes in at 19,526, which seems suspiciously low. Is it planned like this? I am not quite sure. Let's actually increase the audio a little bit. But what is even more important is the fact that she's the very first unit in the game to have a brand new damage type. And that is piercing damage. A special type of damage. When inflicted, it ignores a certain amount of physical and magical defense, as well as dealing 200% damage to shields. This damage type is not affected by physical damage and magical damage related effects. So what does that mean? Does that mean you cannot boost her with a fleeting Bella and all of a sudden she doesn't get any boosts? Because she's neither physical nor magical defense? Or magical damage? Overall, this seems very interesting because it does ignore, it doesn't quite tell you, but it does tell you that it ignores physical and magical defense, which means the unit itself is just naturally going to deal more damage. But without further ado, Stella, let's check it out. Bloodborne, medium armor, assassin, half moon. Let's just quickly check the cost. 4 cost at 10,000 attack and 146k HP. Let's compare that to Timeless, which is 155 on 11,000. So it's not too far off considering the fact that there's like legit, Iona's at the top and she's at the very bottom of SSRs. So let's start with the basic attack. Basic attack, puncture, deals 2 hits to the target for a total of 127% attack in piercing damage. Okay. Talent. When Stella deals damage to a target, except with her talent, whose stasis has not reached 50% of its max HP, we'll find about stasis later, she deals an additional 120% attack in piercing damage. HP loss from this damage becomes additional stasis. When a unit with stasis is defeated, Stella casts her special again on the enemy with the most stasis. Additionally, her next ultimate costs 1 less blood soul. Stella's damage increased based on a target stasis to up to a maximum of 30%. Stasis. This portion of HP is permanently frozen and cannot be recovered. Ooh, so if any of you have played like something like Epic 7, it's kind of like injury. It's damage to an HP value that just can't be recovered. But what about Seth, right? Is this the moment where Seth comes in? Because skill is not affected by HP block or other effects that alter HP recovery. Are we finally at the point where we now know the fact that stasis exists, and if your enemy inflicts you with stasis, Seth can just circumvent that? So, here we are with the special. After the battle begins, Stella becomes untargetable and teleports behind the farthest enemy, dealing 1500% attack in piercing damage, setting them as her target. When Stella's HP is below 50%, the skill will be cast again on the enemy with the most stasis, and it can trigger at most once every 8 seconds. So, start of battle, below 50% HP, and when a unit with stasis is defeated, she also casts her special. Now let's check out the ultimate, which should tie it all together. Here we go. Whirling Dervish. Stella teleports to a select location and becomes untargetable. Then rapidly casts a Blade Barrage, dealing 8 hits of 172% attack, piercing damage to all enemies within close range. Okay. But where does stasis come from? Does she just naturally inflict stasis with any damage amount she deals? HP lost from this becomes additional stasis, so that should be the way she works. Okay, that is very, very interesting. So we have an assassin. Clearly she's meant to be a counter for Timeless Iona in Arena, but look at this again. After the battle begins, Stella becomes untargetable and teleports behind the farthest enemy. What if Starry-Eyed Iona just isn't the farthest enemy, which is not uncommon in arena defenses? So she might not be your one-on-all solution, and I'm not so sure if she's going to be particularly crazy anywhere else, but she is very well and confirmed to be currently the only unit with the piercing damage type. Now, if that's a benefit or demerit, who knows? Though we are getting way too many Bloodborne people. Who else currently feels like we have way too many Bloodborns? Ever since the release of the game, we got Daikalo, we got Lamia, that's 2. We got Quinn, that's 3. We got 3 Bloodborne units, and 1 Ancestor, and then 3 Kingdom units. Where's the church? Where's the church? And also, shouldn't it be an Ancestor in Julius from the Ancients? Should be a Bloodborne. And then White Hair Lady, huh? The Ancestor from the Ancients should also be a Bloodborne. No, she's an Ancestor, duh. But, so we got 2 Ancestors, 5 Bloodborne. Albrecht, probably Bloodborne or Kingdom? Like, where's the church? Where's the church? We can understand it, because for now, church is obviously the most plentiful. But, yeah, we need some more church units. Alright, so this has been it. She's looking incredibly interesting. Any more specifics on how good she is and the like, you get that as soon as possible. And as always, we see each other in the next one. Peace.